Next meeting order at 5:30. Any adjustments to the agenda?
I have none.
Anybody? Alright, select board announcements? Anyone? Okay. Public comments on the items not on the agenda. Heather?
Just something that kind of came up today that I noticed before, there's some question about whether the town is responsible for yards that come into like the walkway and sidewalk, or if that's a homeowner issue. But even today, there was an issue walking along Kimball Hill where most of the homeowners' grass, maybe plantings, were like, we had to kick by them to go by.
What is our sidewalk? We just did a sidewalk policy like last year. What does it say?
Yeah, I think we need to redo that.
Yeah.
We just did it.
I know, but we put, some financial stuff in there.
We did?
Yeah, so I'll take responsibility
We'll look
for
into
the
that.
misguidance.
Unless you wanna
We're
open
not
it
sure.
there.
Okay.
We
But
can
do
look
have a
into
sidewalk
that.
policy.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things that's like, I'm walking like deer, sir, and Adam, please. You can see where like somebody trimmed out where the fire hydrant was,
Yeah.
but it grew over that cutout.
Thank you. Mr. Fairman? Can you just please state your name again for the...
Robert Fairman. There may be some developments at the paper mill across the street. I was walking by there yesterday morning when I saw, usually there's just one vehicle there, the caretaker they have. Yesterday morning, the caretaker's vehicle was there, plus vehicles registered in New Jersey, which is where Soundview Paper is headquartered, New York, Pennsylvania, and Rhode Island. The Rhode Island pickup truck was quite discreetly identified as Bay Crane. Now, I happen to know that Bay Crane work principally in southeastern New England, and that they specialize in very heavy lifting and very heavy transport. So that's all I know, but this is the first time in a long time that anything's been going on over there, so maybe something we can all keep an eye on. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anybody else? Approval of minutes for August 6th, 2025.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of August 6, 2025.
Second.
Well, they seem fine with me.
Okay.
Sweet.
All set, Peg? Okay, all in favor? Aye. All right, warrants to the treasurer.
I make a motion to approve and execute the warrants to the treasurer upon completion of review.
Second.
Karen?
Accounts payable dated August 9th through August 22nd, 2025, in the amount of $118,679.30. In this warrant, you will see the Group A, Social Agency Appropriations. There are 5 of them at the sum of $7,830. We also have our insurance payment in here, $18,936.63. Wyndham County Sheriff is in here, their monthly contract amount. And yeah, I mean, small but large bottom line.
Where do we stand with the sheriff's contract right now?
I'm still trying to work with him with the animal control.
Just, yeah, it didn't seem like big stuff needed to happen,
No.
but it just needs tidying up.
Right.
Well, keep after him.
I'm trying. It's like herding cats.
I'm sure he's herding cats as well,
He is, but
literally. I don't have any questions.
Nope.
okay, so payroll warrant dated August 22nd, 2025 in the amount of $27,469.37. So the pool will be closing this Saturday, August 23rd.
Wow, that seems really fast.
Yeah. So their payroll for the last 2 weeks was $7,718.19. That is with the director, the rec league director in there as well. So payroll will go down a little bit.
That's for me.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Town manager's report.
Oh man, so I did really some of time. Alright. So I'm gonna start off with Bart Harmon report that was received by Len Howard. This is dated July 23rd through August 18th. Incidents, EMS 10, automatic fire alarms 5, motor vehicle accidents 2, car fire 1, mutual aid, Dummerston structure fire. I will point out that our folks were out at that fire. I think there was at least 13.
It was a lot, yeah.
It was 9.5 hours they were out there fighting the fire with other departments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a residential fire?
That was the,
No,
White
some-
Miller Orchards.
White Miller
Oh, right.
Orchard, yep. So I just want to thank everybody for being out there and being safe. That was a big fire. Training, combined fire EMS training on a subject pinned under a vehicle. EMS training on special populations. Not quite sure what that means, so maybe Logan or Eric can explain that.
I was on vacation for that one, but I think
Oh.
it's different, whether it's elderly or young children,
Gotcha.
different emergencies.
Okay. Fire training on forcible entry, breaching walls, working of the aerial ladder, and maneuvering through tight spaces with breathing apparatus on. There are 6 members enrolled in a Firefighter 1 certified training program starting in September through the Vermont Fire Academy. I just want to say, in my years here, this is like the first time that I've seen this happen. And it may have happened prior, I just wasn't aware of it, but I just want to say, congratulations. Getting folks into a program like this, where in Vermont, you don't have to be certified to be a firefighter. This is progress right here in our department, and this makes me feel good. And I shouldn't have feelings, involved, but I do. So,
You're allowed to feel.
At least to feel good.
Yeah, we'll take that.
it's a good feeling, yes. And I'm very, this is great. I like seeing this.
But before you go away from that, a big thank you to the Putney School for letting us use their building that they're tearing down. Something we don't usually get to have access to. They were very gracious to let us go in and do some destruction.
I know another building. I'll talk to you about that later. As health officers. Maintenance, the 20 self-contained breathing apparatus units have had the annual flow test completed by a third-party vendor, which is a National Fire Protection Association requirement. So safety first. Work in progress is building a capital plan. I just sent that to Len Howard today, actually, and I know Daniel was looking at it as well. Continue to review and implement recommendations from the AP Triton report. Equipment, replace 600 feet of 4-inch supply hose that needed replacing on the tanker truck. The EMS bags for Squad 1 and Utility 1 will now have carbon monoxide meters on them to make sure the crew is working in a safe environment on medical emergency calls. The AEDs for the town buildings are in, and some are installed, and then more are going to be installed. I know Town Hall and the library haven't been done yet.
So they'll provide training on those too.
Staff that need training will have it provided in the near future.
They're designed to be
They're
kind of
full.
foolproof, but it's still nice to have training on them to see if we're confident on how to use them.
It's already in the works.
Awesome.
I'm all over it. It's training will
It's
happen.
actually, it's fun.
Yeah, I know the lifeguards are all CPR and AED certified, and they have cards. Highway department as well, because they go through MSHA training for the gravel pit. So it'll be town office, library, and who knows, maybe we can have other towns, in the training with us. We'll see if we can expand it a little bit, but that is the report from the fire department. Logan, did you want to add anything?
Nothing to add, thank you.
All right. And don't ask me questions about it, but let's see. Highway report. So signage is in that we ordered for Carroll Brown Way. I'm gonna go out with Lenny Howard and little Len. Len the fourth.
Okay.
And we're gonna take a look at it and we'll make sure that signage is not confusing.
This,
Okay.
this
yeah.
is for the left turn.
Yeah.
I
Left,
saw
right,
something
91 that way,
today, just
Yeah.
like half an hour ago.
Route 5, the whole, yeah. I mean, they're going out this way the wrong way. It's just, some people just can't, it's tough. My office wrote a letter to the Windham County Sheriff's Office for the lead hazard control and healthy homes program. So there's approximately $4 million that could be earmarked for Windham County to assist with improvements to older homes. So the letter was due the 14th. They asked for a support letter. I wrote one because we had written a support letter to create a program to train people to help assist with this lead hazard program.
Okay. Why was it to the sheriff?
What?
Why was it to the sheriff? Did you say to the sheriff's office?
Yes. So, yeah,
It just seems like an odd place for that to land.
yeah. So they're working with, the original letter was written to Kate Kirkwood,
Okay.
and it was Southern Vermont Lead Hazard Control and Healthy Homes Initiative. They got the grant to train 200 folks in the area to assist with, how to get funding and, filling out paperwork and then going in and doing the work. So,
I think Jeanette has an answer to my question.
sure.
Because it goes to counties and we don't really have county government, and the sheriff was the closest thing to being able to cover the county.
That is a good explanation. It's funny that that makes total sense.
Yeah, I mean, the name changed a little bit too.
Yeah.
So, I did write that letter. I want to thank Sue Coakley too, because I ran the letter by her, because what I wanted to do was reference the town plan and action steps in there. And Sue was able to provide 2, and they were satisfied with the letter the way it was written. So no changes needed to be made. So thank you for your assistance. And I do want to just say one thing about the new town plan. I love it. I think it's the greatest document that I've seen here in Putney in a long time, and I reference it all the time. So it was well done. Pool closes, like I said, April 23rd at 6 p.m. I also sent out 53 delinquent property owner letters. So letters, well, no, let me take that back. 53 delinquent property owners, 33 letters were sent. There are already 2 tax agreements, 15 properties are under $1,500. So you technically, by law, can't send them to tax sale. 1 is under appeal and 2 are deceased property owners with no probate. So the total outstanding delinquent taxes 1 year in arrears or more is $219,781.31. And I have had a few people ask me, and I said I'd have to take it to the board for consideration, if interest could be waived while they're trying to catch up on payments. So you cannot send people to tax sale until you offer some sort of tax payment arrangement. If they default, then they can go to tax sale. But I have to do due diligence per the state, try to get them to agree to a payment arrangement, and it has to be reasonable. So that's.
And that usually is, when somebody's 1 year delinquent, you usually try to get an agreement. Because if they're piggybacking 1 year on top of the next year, the hole's just gonna get bigger if they don't get on it. So,
That's a true statement, Fletcher. Yeah.
yeah, so we don't do them any favors, but let them drag it on.
I don't,
But here's the other thing, some people, people that are on fixed incomes, they don't file income taxes, so they don't know to file their homestead exemption. And that is the case with a lot of these people.
yeah.
So what I say to them, we can send you to SEVCA or
Right.
to the state. You need to fill out the homestead exemption at least for the past year. Usually the state will pay that, and it reduces that overall balance. So that's kind of,
Does SEVCA do anything to publicize that aspect in particular? I mean, I know they tell people that they can provide help preparing their taxes, but that specific issue, which I agree with you, a lot of people, if people aren't thinking about paying taxes at all,
Right.
the homestead form goes right by them.
it does. And that's the first thing I look for all the time. And most of the cases are, they have not filed that form.
Well, I really hope SEVCA could.
Well, John Johnson is on the Board of Trustees for SEVCA.
Oh, good.
So I can have him get information, maybe a community package, what services, we need to start steering people to the right services, because we can't do that for them here. We don't have the staffing, and it's confidential information,
The state has a good state tax advocate program as well.
So,
So you can send them that way too. Back to the original request was to waive interest.
yes.
Wouldn't abatement be a better place for that?
Not necessarily, because you get interest every month. So somebody owing $3,000 is,
Right.
it's $30 that they get whacked for interest. So I would not want to do abatement every month for interest. And we would have to look at the delinquent interest and VLCT revenue that comes in before we decide to take it.
Well, this was a discussion we had, I think, last year on whether we wanted to reduce the interest or delay the interest, or, I guess my issue is that if we were gonna do it, I wouldn't wanna do it for a select number of people. If we were gonna do it, in fact, I don't think that we could do it unless we did it for across the board.
Yeah, you have to be fair.
So, that's why I was asking about abatement, because abatement is more about individual cases. So I think we left that off the table because it was, well, it was lost revenue for the town for one thing, and for another, you know, if you take off the interest or the penalties, what's the incentive for people to pay their taxes on time?
Well, and that's the other thing too, so it, you know. I mean, if they have a tax payment arrangement with my office and they default, then, you know, it's off the table.
Yeah.
You could abate too and, you know, the next month they don't pay, it's a lot of work for,
Right, I know.
I just wanna throw that out there, all right? I'm not looking for a response, but. And we would have to look at, to see how much revenue we generate, first and foremost.
Yeah, I mean, if they're not paying, if they're not paying it anyway, then we're not generating revenue, but, if there's,
But we are generating revenue off of delinquent taxes.
yes, yeah,
So,
Maybe just giving it to folks who come in and ask and are on a payment plan, not as like the default. If you don't pay, you don't get charged. But if someone comes in and says, I wanna catch up,
I don't think that's legal, but maybe that's a good question for Larry,
VLCT,
or the LCT, yeah, it's probably the LCT question, yeah.
okay. Let me look into it a little more, but it was a question and I just,
Totally sympathize.
no, I get
But,
it, you know, it's, you know. But, also, I wanted to mention, first payment that was received for fiscal year 25 taxes. I shouldn't say fiscal 25, but 2025 property tax year. What is owed on the first payment is $138,915.73, less than what is delinquent right now. And what we had to collect for the first payment was $1,892,769.05. So being down to 138,000 on the first payment, that's like amazing. I've never seen it that low since I've been here.
Well, theoretically, everybody got lower, quarterly tax bills, right, so that helps.
hopefully that says it was good.
Right,
Yes.
Worth doing.
My last report is town hall. I'll be real quick because I know I'm taking up time here. We've had, so for the month of August, we had a site visit here on August 5th at 10 a.m. for, we had a request for a proposal for construction management services. 2 firms were here to do a walkthrough with their team. 2 construction management proposals were received on August 18th and are currently being evaluated and scored. 14 firms were solicited and we got 2 proposals. And we submitted for 2025 the SEDS. So it's the Southern Vermont Community Economic Development Strategies project submission form for the project, for town hall renovation project. and due on September 19th, Sue, is additional information for the regional priority project to access more funding through the northern borders. So that is a target date that we are going to be trying to achieve here. We extended our contract with North Hill Solutions through a READY grant for an additional 30.2 hours in an amount not to exceed $3,500. North Hill Solutions is helping the Renew Town Hall team with funding and staffing, and so that's on Peter Root. So yeah. So a lot happening. We'll be looking at contracting with a construction manager in the near future and defining the cost estimate further. We are going to begin work on design development plans. VIII, Vermont Integrated Architects, will be completing phase 1 and 2 construction documents, which is windows, doors, envelopes, and HVAC. That is on their schedule. So a lot going on with this project. We're kind of in a lull right now, but once we get the construction manager on board, things are going to speed up quickly. And we want to be prepared to come to the select board in September with a overview and a proposal. And
Okay,
yeah,
sounds fun.
it's different. Be different than what we're doing right now. And that's all I have, folks.
Any public comment, Mr. Fairman?
Mr. Chairman, before the town of Putney bought Cooper Field, there was softball there Labor Day weekend, and occasionally Next Stage Arts bandwagon series was there. Since we've owned Cooper Field, no change. So what I'm wondering is, what are we going to do with Cooper Field? Is anybody giving this any consideration at this point?
Yes, we are, Mr. Fairman. I'm working with the Planning Commission. Cooper's Field, there is interest. The bandwagon chose not to have as many music evenings up there. They're spread out everywhere this year. I did speak to a gentleman that is with the men's league. They are going to be on the field for Labor Day weekend. They have a tournament.
As usual.
I do expect another one in October. But I did speak to him, and he has connections, and I said, what can we do to improve the field? He goes, don't touch it. He goes, we like it the way it is. I'm like, okay. I said, but you need new bases. And I said, I'd like to talk to you, if you want to use it, for practice and for weekend tournaments, great. And he's like, yeah, we've been tossing that around. So the door is open for a conversation to start using that field. I would like to see a recreational grant so we can look at all our recreational assets here in Putney. And that includes the trails, the pool, the Cooper's Field, High-Low Biddy, the bridge down there, the walkway, everything. Maybe get some bathrooms up at the Cooper's Field. But it's hard for me to really get a big picture of what we have. So I think we need a comprehensive recreational study. So if we can find MTAP money, or maybe Wyndham Regional Commission can assist us with that, great. But
Civil planning grants just opened up again, I think. That might be a good place for that.
yeah. So, and there are rec grants that we've been kind of like overwhelmed right now with what's going on. Trying to close out grants. We have new grants. Sue's gonna give you a full report on what will be happening in the next year, and it's a lot. It's a lot, but we'll get through it. But
Projects.
yeah, Cooper's Field will come alive again.
That's good, because it's a terrific resource.
Yes.
And there's even more land there that perhaps could be set up for some other sport. And
Yeah.
regarding the softball field, it seems like it may have had better days, because there's a really nice scoreboard there that they seem not to use anymore, probably because it doesn't work.
But the right person came into my office last week, and I'm like, hey, you know that scoreboard that's sitting on Cooper's Field and it's got Pepsi on it? Like, if we were gonna, revitalize that field, would you be interested? And yeah, he's like, so all I gotta do is call. So,
Nice.
and electricity is hooked up to that, and it goes to the well house.
Mhm.
Because on one half of the well house, there's like a kitchen,
Yeah.
a snack place, for the window, and so we're gonna get there, Mr. Fairman.
I did not intend to imply any criticism, it was simply inquiring for the status.
Yeah, it's the timing too,
Hmm.
but it takes planning, right, Sue? But thanks for bringing it up.
Any other public comment? Anything from the select board? No? All right,
I have a question.
go ahead. Becky.
Yeah, Karen, who would I talk to if I wanted to find out more about how the town maintains places like Cooper's Field, and in particular about pesticide use in the town and things like that? Who manages that? Is that Lenny?
No. Well,
Yeah.
so hang on a minute. So like pesticides on roadsides, or?
Right.
Yeah.
Both on roadsides and on any of our recreational areas, things like that. Just like, what we're using and where we're using it and things like that.
Yeah, so you'll start with Lenny for the highway department for the roads.
Okay.
And we're not treating the rec fields, I can tell you that right now. All that's happening at Cooper's Field is mowing and and weed whacking, that's it.
Okay. So the only place that we're using any kind of pesticides that as a town is on road maintenance.
Right, and I don't know if they're actually using pesticides.
Right.
So let's not say that out loud, but check with Lenny.
Okay.
And invasive species, Peg. The Conservation Commission has a handle on that too.
Okay.
And yeah, and Wilson Wetlands also.
Okay.
I don't know
Great.
about Vermont, but I know in New Hampshire you have to have a license in order
Yeah,
to apply
nobody,
pesticides, so I don't think we would be doing that.
the only thing they put on the roads is calcium chloride to
You
keep
would
the dust
know,
down.
you would know about it
Right.
if
They've
they
never
had a
done
license.
any
Yeah.
pesticide spray.
And I know like Forest for Learning is managing some invasives down there.
I don't know if they're.
I didn't hear what Eric said.
Town, as far as I know, the guys would have to have a pesticide license, and nobody does. They've never,
I don't think,
they don't do anything with pesticides. The only thing they put on the road was calcium chloride to keep the dust down.
right, and they might do that grass, the spray on grass that grows.
But that's just hydro seeding.
That's
Yeah.
hydro seeding, there you go.
No pesticides.
Okay. Great. Thanks.
Mr. Fairman?
Mr. Chairman, I forgot another point, which was, some time ago I mentioned that mowing had been done on the Sand Hill Road Causeway right down to the water line, which of course is not allowed by law. And this year they mowed it very nicely, leaving a nice buffer down to the water, which is for filtering silt that comes off the road. It so happened that Sunday I had an opportunity to take a visitor down there who was an international authority on wetlands. And she was really impressed with the health, so to speak, of the Wilson wetland.
Nice.
All right, moving on. Boards, committees, and commissions. Sue?
Good evening all. Sue Coakley, Chair of the Planning Commission, and this is my monthly report to you about what the Planning Commission is doing now and planning to do. You have a written report, so I'll just try to hit some highlights here, and then if you have questions, I'll be glad to answer them. So, top of the list is a zoning bylaw modernization project. We're a year into it now. We kicked it off last September. We're very much on schedule. We are currently reviewing a Planning Commission review draft, a first integrated version of the entire set of bylaws and subdivision regulations. We've been looking at it in pieces and bits. So this is our first review, and I would say that generally we're finding that for things that are, really more simple updates to things, improvements, I think we're well along in doing that, making the document more concise, more simple. I think we have to do a better presentation of those changes. That's what we'll do in the next public review draft. The biggest new thing, and I've talked about this in my past meetings, is the Forest Block Overlay District. We had a focus group on July 30th, and the intent of that was to bring a first concept to the table. We looked at it for the first time at the July Planning Commission meeting and said, let's use that for a focus group to find out what questions people would have, what issues we need to address. And we invited all of the affected landowners by looking at the grand list and the overlap with the overlay district, and sent postcards to everybody. And we did have a good turnout. We had about 40 people altogether, including planning commissioners and people that have never attended some of our meetings. I will say this is generating a lot of interest, and for many people concerned, what does this mean? How does it restrict what I could do with my land? But as we said at the meeting, we're not going to be able to answer all these questions in this hour and a half that we're together, but we really want to understand what your questions and concerns are so we can address them, because your questions are the questions everybody has. So we're now in the process of reviewing them. The questions, a lot of them about financial impacts on individuals, on the town, feasibility to implement it, exactly how do you find a property that's affected? What does it mean for the long run? How much development subdivision could you do or not do? So we learned a lot from that, and we are preparing a way to respond to that. We believe that a frequently answered questions format can present questions and answers. Certainly some better information about maps and access to maps, and maybe even a little kind of tutorial that people can look at to see how the different overlays work. It's a little there's good tools, but you need a little guidance to use them. And maybe some scenarios of this type of property, what would it mean for this type of property with this underlying district? So it was a good discussion. I get the sense that there's been an earful here at Town Hall about it, and I expect we will be getting more comments. But it was very helpful to help us think about what kind of information to present and how to present it. So we're getting ready to do that. And we will be holding our first community meetings next month, September 30th. The Yellow Barn has agreed to host that first meeting in the big barn. They're wanting to be more community engaged, and it will be a good place to bring people together. So we're on schedule, and we do expect to be able to publish a next version by mid-September. And we're on track to be ready to do a hearing in January, so that we can pass something on to the select board. We met at the August meeting to talk about other matters. One of those was the comprehensive village plan, as I've mentioned to you. We're planning to begin that next spring, but to do that right after town meeting. When we're done with the zoning bylaw project, and also what we expect to be, And also at that time, when the regional commission will have completed their regional land use plan, which will provide information important for where we might extend the village center to. So our next thing that we'll do is the September meeting will approve a plan to begin formation of an advisory committee, which we will bring together in December. We'll give a couple of months for nominations. It's a similar self-nomination process, or nominating others. We'll be reaching out to those entities who had provided letters of support. We had 12 of them for the grant, and let them know of our interest in that. So that will be moving forward, so that we'll be ready in the spring to do that. We need to issue an RFP in early January if we want to begin or possibly in December, an RFP. And that will be the first topic of that advisory committee when we meet in December. Okay, so the next thing is enhanced energy planning and energy facility siting. So as you know, it has come up in the past year a couple of times, interest in either a certificate of good or a notice to the town of siting an energy facility, both of them down by the Connecticut River, one near Hilo Biddy Road that would be an energy storage project by Encore Energy Solutions, and the other one was a previously approved PV array that is on a parcel of land down right on the river in a capped former Putney paper mill pulp waste landfill. But that had been approved during COVID, it timed out, we gave it support, the select board supported it, and to my knowledge that will be installed by the end of the year. That's what I was told when I checked in. The energy facility, energy storage facility application has not yet gone to the PUC. They've had some delays, so there's no proceeding yet to go. But this brought up for us that there is interest in utility grade energy facilities in Putney. Our town plan calls for the siting to be balanced with valuing agricultural lands as well as natural lands, wildlife corridors, and so forth. So the way for a town to have real standing in any public utility commission proceeding is to have an enhanced energy plan, which gives us a deferential status when it comes to the siting. And if a facility is being proposed, we have an enhanced energy plan that provides guidance on where a siting should happen or not. That is actually the standing going into the proceeding, and a project would have to suggest why maybe they would overcome our land use policy for siting. But I think that's our best way to make sure that we do. I mean, siting is a good thing. We've already had 2 projects that I think would contribute in a good way, but not every project might fit the bill in terms of balancing agricultural and natural resources. So the good news is that Wyndham Regional Commission now will provide technical assistance to help us develop the enhanced energy plan. And we have a lot of great elements, which is why they're interested. Town plan itself provides a lot of the information needed. There was an initial attempt at an enhanced energy plan in 2021, and we have that information. Some of it's outdated at this point, but could be useful. Wyndham Regional Commission will be giving us a proposal for our September meeting coming up. At which, if it appears appropriate, the commission will vote to present to the select board for approval for technical assistance. It would not cost us anything. The idea would be to begin that in the spring, like May, June, and complete that by year end. You see that on the schedule that I've given you. So it was very insightful, and this assistance is going to other towns, and the Wyndham Regional Commission is funded to provide this technical assistance. So it's a very positive meeting, and I think it would be a good follow-on to our town energy plan. Our town plan, I should say. Then housing needs assessment, next steps. So as you know, a needs assessment did recommend that we move forward to make 88 new homes available in the next 5 years. 25 are under construction right now, so 58 more. 150 existing homes, weatherized and improved, and that really largely goes to the energy section of our town plan. It's largely about that. And then renovating 27 homes that are in distressed condition to bring them back to healthy homes. Those are the goals that were set out, and the number of initiatives. You know the strategy that we put out there. There are two projects that were identified for the Planning Commission to work with the town manager on to move forward. Healthy, efficient home repair and additions, which is related to housing coordination services, a municipal service. And the idea was to write a grant with another town to basically develop what that service would be and pilot it to see if it could be done. It basically would provide the help that people need to undertake home repair and renovation. A lot of people don't do it because it's overwhelming for them. They don't know where to turn to. And I thought that the lead abatement services that the Sheriff's Department was talking about is a good example. A housing coordination person is going to help saying, okay, it's an old house. Do you need to know if you have lead paint before you move anything? Here's a program and a service that will help you understand what your issue is and what help you can have to abate the lead. That would be one example of housing coordination services. There's a lot of services available. It's bewildering. And it would help, they would provide technical assistance, project management assistance through it. It would create a qualified contractors network with apprenticeships, and it would also make sure that there's a home improvement loan fund. I know there's some work going on right now by Bert Tupper to lay the groundwork for that, but it would build on things like that. But that's one thing. There has been grant money available. I can tell you more about that, but nothing is being pursued because there's not yet select board support to do that. And I do wonder what additional information might be needed. The other one that was like that would not be a heavy lift is employer collaborations for housing solutions. There are workforce housing needs in this town, including our biggest employers, the educational institutions. There is interest in talking about how there can be collaboration for, their assistance to provide housing, different ways that can go. And a conversation could be started on that fairly soon. But there's not yet support and approval to do that. So as I said to people, I never like to get ahead of my skis. I don't want to go down the road on these things and then find out that's really not what the select board wants. So I'm wondering, because I'm trying to do a schedule for the next actually 18 months. You see a 12-month schedule, but as you just heard from the town manager about a recreation plan, we need to put these things on our calendar. We do like forming project advisory committees for these things. For the enhanced energy plan, we will propose to develop a project advisory committee that would work with us for the 6 months that's happening, beginning and done. And that can happen with any other project. And we plan to do that with the housing project, housing coordination project, or anything else. So I said I would come back to you all to say, what additional information do you need to be able to begin to search around for funding opportunities? Bellows Falls put up their hand to be a partner community to try to go in on the housing coordination services. But it's all just sort of on pause at the moment. So I wanted to bring that up and welcome any feedback, should there be any. And then the next thing is we are going to be 2 years into our town plan implementation soon. And it's a good time to take a look at how we're doing on what the implementation table was. And talking with the town manager, Karen asked me, is this something the Planning Commission can provide a review on? I said, well, it's something Planning Commissions typically do. We've not been asked to do it, except encouraged by the town manager. And the thought would be to create something that shows what's been completed, what is underway, and what is pending action in some kind of time frame, and bring that to light. Maybe put it up here on your bulletin board. Before spending the time to work on that, I wanted to let you know about this and see, is the select board interested to know about how we're doing with our town plan and what's been done, what's underway, and what's pending action. It does, in the town plan, chapter 9 is a whole implementation table. So I'd work completely from that and just provide a report based on that table. So, and then you see our schedule, which is no different than the 12-month schedule that I gave to you last time. I will say that what's listed here, the Putney Landing walkway, we have moved that forward, just did more work today. Pip Bannister is providing a leading role on it, and we have formed a committee that includes the town manager, myself, and Pip Bannister to basically manage this project, and we'll be selecting a contractor from a qualified list. This is just for design, and do that first, working with VTrans. So we're moving forward on that, and the schedule that you see here could be that it will be done in July, not June, but that's the kind of schedule for getting that done. And you have attached here again the zoning bylaw project schedule that we're working on, and we believe that we will be able to meet that. You also have the schedule for the implementation of the Housing Needs Assessment Action Plan. So I wonder what questions or comments you may have for me about my report.
Eileen?
So what do you need from us to move forward? Just a motion?
A motion would be terrific. The Planning Commission works at the direction of the Select Board. And you could do a procedural that let you all figure out what you need to do. I think if you all give me direction, having a vote on it means that you're all together on it. That's a very good thing to do from my point of view. That way, when I go to reach out to Bellows Falls, to funders, I can say the Select Board is behind us. You supported the overall plan, but I didn't have clear direction of what the Planning Commission should move forward. So I wanted to give you maybe a more clear picture of what that is. And I think those are two things that could get moving. Some of which will take a while to get the funding, but there is money available to do some of these things. So
Specifically the things that you want to move forward on are the healthy efficient home repair?
with project coordination services, there were sort of two things, but it's housing coordination services to do the healthy efficient repair initiative. Yeah.
Okay, so that was one thing, and then the other one,
Employer collaboration?
Yeah.
these two bolded things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Employer collaborations for
All
housing
right.
solutions. Those two. Yeah.
Okay, and you mentioned that there was a citizen working on a housing fund. Is he working on something that would be something that the town would take over, or is this a private fund that he's working on?
My understanding is, I don't have the time to be in it at the moment, but my understanding is that it would be an independent private fund, not associated with the town.
Got it. Okay, that's all I have.
Okay, Peg?
Yeah, I was gonna start by what Eileen just did, which was kind of get clear about what exactly, which of these things you want our feedback on, or our blessing on, or our encouragement to go and go and do it. And so I think I'm clear now. I think I would say the town plan implementation tracking, of course, I would love to have that done, and I would love to be presented with that in a visual way as you're describing, that shows us and the rest of the community where we are at with the town plan. That just seems like I can't think of any reason why anybody wouldn't support that 100%. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody else has another opinion. So I just wonder if we should take these things one at a time. Like, if we all agree that would be great, can we just say, Sue, go for it, thank you, and check that one off?
If we need to make motions, I can craft.
I don't see why we need a motion for something like that.
I agree with you. I think that having a visual of all the things that have been accomplished so far would be awesome.
Right.
I know a lot of stuff has
Right.
happened.
I can see the value of some motions as they might pertain to going out into the community and working with the schools or working with employers or working with other towns. It might be useful to have a motion for those things, but for the, the tracking of the, town plan implementation, I think we're all good. I would hope we would just be good to say, have at it, Sue. Thank you. You're willing to do that. And then the other two things, which are actually kind of three things, right? There's 2 housing and 1 energy plan.
That's right.
Or is it just the 2 housing needs assessment actions?
Just the 2, thank you for the question, Peg. It's just implementing the housing needs assessment recommendations, those 2 things, the pairing of housing coordination services with healthy, efficient repair, and then the collaborations for employer-assisted housing.
Okay. And again, my opinion is those are amazing steps forward in what we want to do. My only concern has to do with bandwidth, and both your personal bandwidth, which I'll count on you to keep tabs on, but it's pretty, amazing to watch how much you can do, and I don't want to burn you out. Your commission, your board's bandwidth, your planning commission's bandwidth, and also the staff's bandwidth, the town's bandwidth. So, to me, if you can gauge the planning commission and yourself, and Karen can register, weigh in on what she thinks the burden or the workload would be on the town, and can give us a sense of whether or not that's reasonable, or that we have that available right now. Those are the things I need to be able to give my full endorsement on these great projects.
Thank you, Peg. And I think the issue of bandwidth is really key, and I think what we want to do is get funding to increase capacities to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
That's really, and you have to dig in a little bit up front to do that. But the funding that I'd like to get for the housing coordination services would really bring somebody or group of people in to really develop it and test it. And I would form, as you know, as always, an advisory committee of key people to just guide that initial thing. So we'd get help from other people. It's related to the planning commission, but as you know, I expand the group of people who are involved, who bring specific knowledge and access to a particular initiative. So that would be the idea. But it is no joke that it will take time and effort to get it going, but I need to put it on my plan. Right now, I've had people calling me and saying, I'm not able to talk about that now, that's not clear. And I can begin those conversations and go back. And some of the funding, the environmental justice funding that I was looking for, is before a court right now for that money that was clawed back, to bring it back, and they have a pretty good case. And some of the people who did the first round of funding in January actually got the money. So I'm not, that one I had ruled out, but I think it may be back, and healthy, efficient homes is a top thing there. So anyway, I'd like to go and explore those things and get in the swim and get in the mailing lists, and but bandwidth is my family would tell me a real issue. But I think we can do that, and I think on the housing collaborations with employers, I do think that Discover Putney is ready to help play a role with that. All of the largest employers are part of that board, and it's easy to bring a conversation together about this, and this is one of the things that they would like to see happen in Putney is more housing. And I know there's interest in collaborations. So yeah, I think with a yes, I can move some things forward, initial conversations on that. So thank you. And then on the the town plan implementation, some kind of visual and list of what we need to do. Could find, if it's done in time, it could actually find a place in the town plan report, the annual report of
That would
the
be
town.
really awesome.
That would be a
That'd
nice
be
thing.
really, that'd be really good.
Yeah, that's kind of what I have it in my eyes. I'm thinking about something good for you, but how could it be
Yeah.
useful for the town? So thank you for that feedback. And I'll come back to you about the enhanced energy plan. We're going to get a technical assistance proposal, and when the planning commission receives that, and we come back to you and say, if we recommend it, we ask them for your approval to request that technical assistance from Wyndham Regional Commission.
So you don't need any action on that one?
I don't need, I'm just keeping you ready so
Being
that
one
when
of the
that
people
comes.
who attempted the draft back in 2021, I fully support moving forward on that one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some good work was done.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I think, and again, because that exists and the town plan exists, and the modeling, the updated modeling can be done by Wyndham Regional, and they have some money to do it, I feel like, okay, we have a game here, but not till next spring.
Okay.
When we do our recreational
Yeah, yeah,
study as well.
yeah, we'll get that on the calendar.
Well, I'm just gonna make a motion to give the PC, the planning commission, the go-ahead to work with the town manager to advance the healthy, efficient home repair and additions project by, or the housing coordinating services, right? That's what you want.
It's the first, if you just read the first sentence, it'll get you
We'll
there.
get there, okay. So I'll start over. I make a motion to give the planning commission the go-ahead to work with the town manager to advance the healthy, efficient home repair and additions and the employer collaborations for housing solutions.
Second.
Any public comment? Mr. Fairman?
Mr. Chairman, a couple of questions for Chairperson Coakley. First, did I understand correctly that the new crosswalk opposite the Putney Public Library, we're looking at perhaps having it June, July 2026?
For it's being completed. It might be July by the time it's all done, but yes.
Okay, thank you. You mentioned utility grade energy facilities. Could you characterize them a bit more as to what sort of facilities these are?
Well, I'll just say there's sort of two categories. One are things that require a certificate, that require town support for a certificate of public good. They tend to be large-scale solar and wind projects, renewable projects. The other kind, and so they tend to be a megawatt, 2 megawatts, 3 megawatts, so a fairly large thing tied directly into the transmission lines to provide power that's sold directly to the utility company or into the grid. The other type of facility that we did have information about is an energy storage, it's battery system. It's like a big trailer, and it was a 2 megawatt battery to be located on High-Low Biddy Road here, where there is an existing solar field, and that would again provide storage that would be used largely by Green Mountain Power to balance their system. And they'd be selling that service to Green Mountain Power. That does not require from the town a letter of supporting a certificate of public good because it's not a renewable energy resource per se, it's a battery. So it's just a different type of energy facility, and the certificate of public good support for renewable energy is for mostly solar and wind, maybe certain kinds of hydro. But those are the kinds of facilities. Putney is an attractive place to put them because there is high voltage transmission wires going right down the Connecticut River. It makes it very affordable to be able to interconnect and logistically simple to do that. And we do have land around. So for that reason, we probably will see more interest in these things. And it would be very good if the town could have standing in any proceeding before the Public Utility Commission. I will just say that in a past life, I wrote the regulations for the state of Massachusetts for small-scale renewable energy facilities, qualifying facilities, to sell and buy power in Massachusetts. So something I'm pretty familiar with. I would say that we will likely see more projects coming to us. And I think it's good for the town to have done some work to say, what are the types of places where that siting would be more advantageous from our perspective in terms of maintaining natural resources, agricultural lands, and that kind of thing.
Thank you. If I may ask for a bit more detail. You referred to large-scale wind and solar. Are you aware of possible proposal of wind turbines on Putney Mountain?
None. But again, the plan, the thing is, if you have an enhanced energy plan that would guide that type of development away from there, that would have very strong standing. The likelihood of a wind turbine on Putney Mountain is pretty low because it's nowhere near transmission. To be able to hook into the grid would be very expensive, and probably more expensive to maintain that wire and interconnection going a long distance than even to put the wind turbine up. So I think it's not a high likelihood that we'll see something on Putney Mountain, and it's pretty well conserved land, so that would be a difficult thing for them to acquire the land and rights to do. But there are other places, where wind could possibly be a solution. It's probably solar fields and energy facilities, energy storage, maybe the more likely candidates that we will see.
I would offer the observation as someone who is familiar with the mapping of the New England grid. The line that you're referring to that runs down along the river actually connects Bellows Falls to Bellows Falls Hydro to the substation in North Brattleboro.
Yeah.
And it has drops at for Westminster and for Putney down on River Road.
Yeah.
And there's one in Dummerston as well.
Yeah.
But it really is not regional transmission in the sense that we seem to be talking about here. In other words, I suspect that it would need a very significant upgrade to be transmitting. Well, firstly, it is designed just for local supply. So if you want to have additional transmission, question is how far is it going? And the question is, do you have the capacity? Now, of course, the line can be upgraded, but that certainly is an open question. Another open question is, when the Spanish firm, then called Iberdrola, I believe it's now called Amogrid, when they proposed the wind turbines on the ridgeline between Grafton and Wyndham, I worked on opposing that project. Full disclosure, they were going to have to build out the transmission facilities because these are two really small towns. There's nothing in the area to connect to. The nearest connection would be in Newfane, where there's a connection to the 345 kV lines that run throughout New England.
So these are the kinds of things that will be addressed in an enhanced energy plan. We will be looking at, from a Putney perspective, what are the facilities that we have, what pieces of land would be the best prospects for this type of thing. And that would provide guidance in a Public Utility Commission proceeding or to anybody coming to do development. So it's not necessarily a stop sign. It's more clarity about where this fits into our land use here in town. So these are all great questions you're asking, but we have had these two projects coming in. They're not giant, 2 megawatt, but that's a utility size project. That's not just a small residential project.
You see, what I'm thinking about is it seems like we're working bottom up here, and actually the state of Vermont's energy plan works top down. And in that regard, it works top down in close coordination with the with Velco and Vermont Electric Power, and with Green Mountain Power and the other smaller electric utilities. And Putney is simply a little piece of that puzzle.
That is right, but the Public Service Department has created the guidelines to do an enhanced energy plan. They have a tick list of things to do. And so we will just follow those requirements, and that approval from the Public Service Department would then give us standing in a Public Utility Commission proceeding, should one come up.
Sure. Thank you for these clarifications. Dick, what I've been trying to indicate here is that this is very much an open issue statewide about
Yes.
which the town of Putney will have a very minor say other than being receptive because of the much broader considerations that are involved concerning statewide and also regionally, ISO New England.
Sure, I understood, and I think what I'm trying to do is just make sure
I got another comment online.
that land
Keep moving.
in the town is, appropriately used from our perspective. And I think it's really implementing the town plan, and it calls for us to, identify sites, for that word. Again, that list of things in the town plan to do.
Peg?
Yeah, I'd like to get back to Eileen's motion about the two housing projects. And I mean, I'm ready to vote on those. My only thing is I would love to hear from Karen if she has any concerns about the impact of these, the initiation of these projects on the town hall staff, and if any concerns, and if she has them, how are they going to be dealt with, or, I just want to hear from you, Karen. I know, these things impact you and your team, and I just like to hear your perspective.
Thank you for asking the question, Peg. My only concern is if my office, is looking at other grants to do other work, such as a comprehensive recreational study. I still want to move ahead with the 20-year evaluation on our water source. That needs to be done, and the wastewater treatment plant. And, it'd be nice to have a staffing study done too, and then we will, so any extra projects coming down the line, there may be an impact, and I don't know what that looks like yet. And there, the landscape can change in Putney at any time, and I have to be prepared for that as well. So there's a lot going on right now. I could probably use a person and a half at town hall. I already have 3 volunteers that come in and help us with various things. I would work closely, obviously, with Sue Coakley, and but there's a lot of work that's happening, and there's more to come. And I can't predict. The burnout is real. Mm-hmm. It's definitely real.
Right. I guess my question is, do you think, as I'm understanding these, it doesn't appear like they will have a large burnout factor, that they're not asking that much of the town office, but I don't know whether I have a I don't know that I have a realistic picture about that.
Well, the other question would be is with the comprehensive village plan, right? So we do a study, we'll have more action steps. We have to start somewhere, but I think working with the planning commission, we can figure out a schedule that, I don't want to be working on 3 different grants at the same time. That just can't happen. So I think between Sue and I, we can figure out a reasonable schedule. And, if we have to bring people on, then that is probably what we're going to have to do. What I like about Sue's approach is that we're going to collaborate with some other towns. And some of that workload will be spread out, Peg. So I don't know what that looks like, but right now things are gearing up, and then you know, I still have to focus on town departments too. So,
Just for the record, I'm not seeing this motion as being a thou shalt go do this now. It's more that you ask for direction. Does the select board want to see this done? I think we do. This is our motion saying yes.
And that's
Fit it into your schedule as best you can.
in the next 3 years.
Right. Well, right.
That's
I mean,
my
it's
plan. I'm
Oh.
joking.
Luckily, you have a 3-year plan like every year, so that, I mean, that was my intention. I wasn't thinking that it would jump ahead of anything else. It's
Right.
more important.
Plus the renovation of this building is a priority of mine
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So, again, I can work with Sue. If we feel like we're, taking on too much, we'll let you know, but,
We
we'll find a way to,
We do communicate a lot, and we've been scheduling together. I mean, that's one of the reasons to do the town plan implementation assessment, is to say, what about all these things? How do they have a way forward? So these are great questions, but having the support to pursue these things and try to find a way for them to move forward is great. It won't be done by October, but it gives us a step forward, and it puts it on the calendar, and it helps me know what I need to have my ear to the ground for. And we will build a team.
Yeah. Whenever people call you, you can tell them the good news.
I share Peg's concern about bandwidth. I think that's a very good term to apply to it. I mean, both of these things, ultimately, I mean, there's grants issues in the middle, but ultimately these are all designed to result in direct service to either homeowners or landlords, and direct service with some specialized knowledge about finance and all of that. And that seems to me like a huge undertaking for current staff, for sure, and adding that. So I support in concept the idea of doing both of these things, but I'm very concerned about where we get the personnel to do it at the end, the end recommendations, with who's going to be doing the direct service and how we're going to pay for it.
Yeah. It's a great question, Fletcher. Just so you understand sort of the idea here, it's probably going to be a firm that's providing the service versus municipal employees. It'd be a contract, kind of like we have, I'd like to use this one, the contract for, animal control services, and it's shared with other towns.
Right.
And it makes it more viable for the provider because they have a robust, market that they're serving, so they can engage the people they need to do it, and provide, get the insurances and everything that they need to provide the service. So this probably will be market formation of something that could only serve multiple towns, not just one town. I think but to get it up and running, let's get together with another town, get a pilot on the ground, figure out what it would take to, learn from that, and then figure out what it would take to make that a service that could be more broadly available. I think there's a lot of interest in it in the state level. Other towns have expressed interest. When I've talked about this, when the regional's very interested. So I have a feeling that this isn't going to fall on Putney for long. It's really getting it started. And I think working with Bellows Falls, which has a really good track record on some housing renovation already, will be very, very helpful. And so I share the concern that it's an outsized service for a little town of 2,600 people. 2,164 or something people. Too many to be able to.
four.
Right.
To get into
Just looked it up the other
some of
day.
the other services I wish we could get.
Yeah.
But anyway, it is too big. I think it's an outsized idea, but the only way for it to get going is to work with another town and encourage it to form, with Putney at the center being supported for it.
The other agency too that we tend to forget is Discover Putney
Yes.
can be a collaborator on some of these action steps.
Yeah, especially the employer part.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we can't forget about them.
I spoke with Catherine Steffen yesterday, said I would be talking about this, and she said, sign me up. You know, I'm
Right.
ready to have those conversations. So I think, again, you're absolutely right, there's an impact on Karen. I need to think about what I can realistically do. But some of these things need a nudge sooner than later to get them going to the critical mass point.
Peg?
Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, this is the last thing I'm going to say. And that's that I just also want us just to remember why this is so profoundly important to do. And that it is about what it's about is our housing crisis and the number of people who are without homes right now. So that's it. That's all I want to say. I've gone into my concerns. I'm ready to vote on this, and I just wanted to end my rant on that issue.
Thank you, Peg.
Everybody's good? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll bring
Sue.
that to the planning commission. I'm sure they'll be overjoyed.
All right, I'll see you Friday for our meeting.
Yes.
All right, moving on. Selectboard New Business, social agency questionnaire.
So this is our standard social agency questionnaire. We would like to get this out soon. Peg, you had questions about the questionnaire, and I just want to make sure that these questions are good to go out to the social agencies. There was one question in particular that
I'm looking at it quickly here. I'm not remembering what big concern I had.
I mean, we revamped this based on the board policy, right?
yes,
Just a little bit.
which the policy is in that blue book.
I think it's fine.
Okay.
I agree.
That's good.
We don't need to vote on that, do we?
No. I just wanted to make sure before we sent it out.
Yeah,
Now, you send it out to the people on this list, the agencies on this list on the next page. Do you reach out to any others or?
No, I do not. They have to solicit.
put it on the website so
Yeah.
that they can download it and send it.
Peg, you good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, moving on. Social Agency Visiting Nurses Alliance.
All right, so as you folks heard, and if you haven't, so the visiting nurses, it's Vermont, New Hampshire. Let me just say this the right way. Of course, it's not on here the right way. Visiting Nurses, Vermont, New Hampshire. They pulled out of Windham County. There was an article in the paper, in the Brattleboro Reformer, not too long ago. And this was given to me from Dartmouth Health, showing that Putney is no longer on their list of,
Like the, in between P and Q, no Putney.
yeah. So, yeah, Visiting Nurse Alliance of Vermont, New Hampshire. So they are slated to be appropriated as of July 1st, 2025, $2,796. In the town report, they reported 70 visits to Putney, serving 5 individuals. What is the select board's pleasure right now? Are we sending this money out to those
This article
agencies?
says that there are a lot of towns were alerted by town meeting day and they deleted their appropriations. So it sounds like they're not even accepting, they wouldn't be accepting money.
I think our policy also says we support agencies that provide services to the residents.
Right, so
We're
the
not
policy
doing
is in that book, if you wanna reference it.
While you're looking that up, I would posit that we should, I think if it was me, I would take them out and I would reallocate all of the money to Group B.
I did suggest to Karen that we send them a letter saying, you're gonna get dinged because you're not providing services to Putney residents, and see how they react. We may have an argument why they should still get the money, but I agree, I wouldn't be inclined to send them the money.
I don't think we even need to tell them.
Well, we kind of have a contract with them, some kind of agreement that they're gonna get funding from us. I think it's only fair to tell them the money's not coming. If they're already not expecting to get paid, that won't be a problem, but I think it'd be fair to say, by the way, we're not sending you money.
Do we send organizations, you've been accepted into our appropriations?
No.
So
So these folks, as long as they fill out the questionnaire, these folks on the list, they fill out the questionnaire, give us a report, then they're allocated the money per the policy.
it's not like a contract or anything.
No, it's not a contract, no.
Did you learn about this from this article and that thing, or did somebody from them reach out and say they're not serving this anymore?
No, we found out from the newspaper.
Cool.
So,
Yeah.
And it sounds like it was in the works for a while, and
yes.
and that some towns actually did know about it. So
this article was dated March 12th, 2025.
okay,
So
it was right around town meeting.
yes. And they may have known even before that.
Well, it says that it was in the works since 2023, so they did know this.
Yeah. So it was effective April 15th, 2025.
Well, fiscal year by July 1st, they were
Right.
no longer here, so I don't have a problem taking them out.
Right, so they did get their allocation the previous year.
Right. So
You wanna see that?
yeah.
For 2025. It's unfortunate, but it is $2,796, which can be dispersed amongst the Group B agencies.
So policy applies to appropriation requests from community service agencies subject to the provision of Title 24, Chapter 73 of Vermont statutes annotated. Select Board will prioritize programs that provide a significant level of direct services to marginalized members of our community. The Select Board may also choose to appropriate funding to organizations whose mission includes providing public gathering space for the Putney community. And they are in Group B, which is nonprofits based outside of Putney, which meet the criteria specified in Article 3, which I just read. I will make a motion to remove the appropriation for visiting nurse to Alliance for Vermont, New Hampshire for $2,796 and reapportion the amount to the remaining groups in Group B, agencies in Group B.
Second.
Any public comment? Mr. Fairman?
Mr. Chairman, just to clarify, do I understand correctly that the nearly $2,800 here is for fiscal 2025, 2026?
It is
Yeah,
Yes.
26.
Yes, okay, thank you. Well, in that case, a contract has been mentioned, but we know that they said, we're not going to provide any further services as of April, which is the previous fiscal year. And although I'm not a lawyer, I believe that if one side no longer fulfills what it agreed to do in the contract, that there may not actually be a contract anymore. They contracted to provide services, and they said we're not going to do it anymore. So I would suggest that the town of Putney as a whole need not have any bad conscience about saying, well, in that case, no more money for you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any select board discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we'll reappropriate, no letter.
Okay. Draft personnel policy, preliminary launch and introduction.
Shall y'all read it?
Sure, we did all
Make it
44
fun.
pages, just run them off. the
Yes,
top of
I
your head.
did because I was trying to steal language for legendaries.
Far out.
I'm sorry, I borrowed. So I did in fact read it.
Good. So, yeah, if there's any comments,
I just want to say that I like this. I like it's friendly. It doesn't look as friendly as
right,
this.
because it's.
But I like it because it's very clear, it's very easy to read. Like I like these little blurbs. Like one of them was the town understands that emergencies happen or something like that. I just felt like that was like, I felt like, because these can come across as very cold and businesslike, and reading a personnel policy is like, ooh, do I really want to work there?
Right.
And this just made it sound like, come work for Putney, we have a personnel policy, but it's a cool one. So I just wanted to say that. I just like the format and the language itself, it's pretty standard. But it reads, I like it.
It's simple, layman's term.
It's a very simple, easy to read personnel policy.
We stripped a lot out. The thing is, working with this consultant, Kim and I learned a lot. We went through it page by page. And it was a good process. And the items that we will have legal counsel, employment attorney, look at, I have not gotten a price for a review. So the library, whether or not they are employees of the town of Putney or not, because they are governed by a board of trustees. If it is determined, then the board may need to take special action later on and create some sort of memorandum with the board of trustees.
Okay.
Because I have no authority over the library if they are not technically town employees. The fire department, there's question about volunteer on call, so that will get sorted out too. And it may be that they don't apply to the personnel policy as well. Overtime for highway department, so 40 hours a week is standard hours. Any overtime has to be actual hours worked. So if somebody works 32 hours, takes 8 hours vacation, then has 8 hours like overtime, it's not gonna happen that way.
Okay.
So the attorney will be making sure that language is accurate.
Okay.
So because Putney has 12, well, and I can't say 12 full-time employees because the 2 library employees may not even count. So whether it's 10 or 12, any municipality that has 50 employees or under 50 is the threshold that kicks in other state law for employees.
Okay.
So we are under that.
Isn't
So
10 another threshold?
there is another threshold when it comes to,
Family leave or something?
yeah, I can't remember what it was. It's something to do with benefits though.
Okay.
So, but our consultant really reviewed everything. And even like a grievance process, because we are an at-will state, so we're not a union. So a lot of the language was gutted because it did not apply to us. So this is going to be a brand new user-friendly policy and still have teeth. But I was hoping for some sort of a fee to have it reviewed. I don't have that. If it is, I'll probably come back to the board. It can be between $2,000 and $5,000. We've spent $3,300 to have this.
Yeah. It's
Gone
worth it
through.
though. It'd be worth it.
Yeah.
Peg?
Karen, I'm a little confused about what you said about the fire and rescue department. What'd you say? And so are you?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I mean, not, we're all confused. But you're going to come back to us with that about what is, I mean, it's not really a volunteer fire department. Whatever, you're going to come back to us with the answer to how our employees at the fire department fit into this policy, yeah?
That is correct. Whether or not they fit into it, Peg,
Right.
I'm gonna leave that to legal counsel
Okay.
to guide us, because it's a gray area. To be honest with you folks, anybody that we pay through our payroll system, in my mind, is a town employee. If they have the same benefits as a regular town employee, we're all town employees. But that is not the case, you know, so we just need to sort through that and make sure we're doing the right thing. And I did base our personnel policy on the Chester, Vermont policy.
Okay.
And the consultant we worked with Chester.
Okay.
So they have, you know, EMS, ambulance, and fire up there, so let's see what they come back with, Peg, and then we'll be a step closer to finalizing it.
Okay. So you don't need any answers on this today?
No, I was just kind of curious if you had any comments.
I think the libraries issue, the relation between the town and libraries, and we've got to review that. And this is as good a springboard as any.
Yeah, that's gonna be some work if we find out that.
Yeah, you got to figure out how that works.
I think a memorandum, we do have a memorandum with the library for the building, but
We need one that's to personnel as well.
yes.
Yeah, this library and fire and rescue department issue, it must be all over the state. You know, there must be, you know, there must be lots of examples of the way of how to deal with this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, however it goes, I just vote for, you know, getting all the people like you, Karen, getting all the people who work under our auspices as much under the same umbrella as we can. So,
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Peg.
I think if it says Town of Putney at the top of the W-2, they're an employee.
It does get complicated though, because like say the listers, they're not full-time, but they are elected. So do they fall under the policy? So,
They get paid like employees. You know.
right,
Although I believe it's the voters that could probably set their salaries.
Yeah, well, and they also, because it's the voters, they're subject, their term, they have a term. It's
Mhm.
like a
Right.
specialized contract.
Right.
Right.
They may get a new contract the next time the voters weigh in, but
Yeah. There's some things unique to municipalities that don't fit your standard
Right,
personnel policy.
all right.
You have a hand up.
Mr. Fairman.
Mr. Chairman, simply from paying attention to the news, every once in a while there's reporting on a case of who's an employee, and usually along the lines of who has recourse. And so I'm just offering the suggestion that this be reviewed by an attorney who wishes to address this question, because simply from what I've read in the news, it can be really problematic sometimes if a situation arises that has not been foreseen.
Thank you. Any other comments on this? No? All right. Moving on. Selectboard Old Business, Selectboard Rules of Procedure and Review.
let's see, now, I did not change in the draft that we have circulating, I haven't yet changed the problematic word from the definition of garbage.
What are you talking about? Sorry.
The rules
Rules of procedure.
procedure.
That's not in our
But
packet.
hopefully it's not in garbage.
No,
Well-
it should
I did pull it out of the OED, so
be. It's all
so
red
I
line.
proposed to change that
There you go.
description to what the OED says, which is liable to rot or become putrid.
Okay.
It's waste that's liable to material, let's see, garbage. Waste that is liable to rot or become putrid.
Are we talking, I think you're talking, next on the agenda was the rules of procedure, not the solid waste.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Procedure
I'm
first.
sorry, I jumped ahead. Rules of procedure, I think we're just, you got your
Although-
red line
I
copy.
think if we could put putrescible.
Yeah. I was asked to provide a red line comparison, so you got it. Things got shifted around so much that there's an awful lot of red in there.
Yeah, this was a while ago. So this is a comparison of our current one with the proposed one. Is that what we're doing here?
That's correct.
Okay. Sorry, it's been a long day.
Yeah.
We want some time to look this over now that it's been.
I'm sorry. I did read the personnel policy, but I didn't read this one.
Well, personally, I don't think the red line version helps a lot, because if anything's been moved if the paragraphs are not in exactly the same order, it redlines the whole darn thing.
Yeah.
So it made kind of a mess, I thought, but that's what I was asked to do.
Can we,
Put this on the next agenda.
yeah, let's do, is that okay?
Okay with me, Fletcher.
Yeah, well, people ought to know what they're voting on, so. So back to solid waste.
Hang on a second, I got any public comment?
Yes, I do. I read it very carefully, and I do have some comments that I'd like you to look at before you put it on your next agenda, if I may.
Do you have them written?
I do have them written, but I will give them to you in addition, because, so I went through this very carefully, and I do have a few comments. So, under agendas, on on E, it says, in consultation with the town manager, the clerk shall determine the final content of the agenda. Nowhere have you defined who the clerk is. There's nothing in your rules that say you even have a clerk. So you need to figure that one out. Conduct of board members will raise a hand and may remain seated. This sounds a little silly to say they may remain seated. It seems as if they were required to stand. You would say they were required to stand.
If we were operating under Robert's rules, they are required to stand.
No,
That's the point.
You can, but you're not adopting Robert's Rules of Order. You're adopting your own procedures. And I can tell you the model policy from the League of Cities and Towns does not say that you can stay seated. It doesn't address it at all. Okay, you can do what you want with this, but I will only pass if it receives the no votes of the majority of the members, not the votes present. And I think it is understood that if you have 4 people at a meeting, that 2 does not make a majority, but it might be wise to clarify that. I know in the Senate committees, a tie means a vote fails. So it just might be wise to clarify that. Unless agreed to by unanimous consent, however, all proposed actions must be approved by a vote under the same rules as in larger meetings, except that a vote can be taken initially by a show of hands, which is often a better method in small meetings. What on earth does that mean? What are the larger rules? Are the rules for larger meetings, and who determines that? I know that you're adopting these from Robert's Rules, but you don't have to define everything that's in Robert's Rules. The chair need not rise while putting the question to vote. Why would this even be mentioned? If the chair was required to stand, it would be said. It's like kind of proving a negative. I don't think I've ever seen a select board, a city council, or a general assembly committee where the chair stood to make a motion. I've never seen it. Public participation, in addition to the general comment time at the conclusion of discussion of each item on the board's agenda for that meeting, and before any action is taken, time will be allowed for public comment. So it seems irrelevant to have public comment at the time if you've already completed your own discussion, and then you're going to have public comment before you have any vote. And you can just leave out that at the end of any discussion and just say before any vote is held that you'll take public comment. Otherwise, what's the point of taking public comment if you've already completed your discussion? And I would suggest that perhaps using the model from the Vermont League of Cities and Towns, which is it's kind of like the personnel policies. It's really clear, it's readable, it just makes a lot of sense. And on this policy or these rules that you have in front of you, it doesn't address removing the chair. If you wanted to remove the chair, it doesn't address recording of the meetings or posting of the minutes. And the application does not, it says it applies to the select board, but it doesn't actually apply to the select board if you're acting in a quasi-judicial manner. So you need to clarify some of that. I would suggest that you look at this model and forget about whatever you had before. And
Our current rules of procedure are based on that model.
well, they
I'm
are.
just saying, no, the current ones, we haven't adopted anything.
No, I know that. I'm just saying that there's nothing in this model that says the chair doesn't have to stand up, or that people can only talk once, or that if it's a ruling by the chair that you can only say something once. None of that is in here, but it is in what you, the draft that you're looking at. And the draft you're looking at does not address, as I said, removing the chair, how you publish minutes. That's really important. That has to be in there, that you have to publish the minutes within 5 days. And you have to make a recording of the minutes. So none of that is in, I don't know if it was in your old one or not, but it isn't in the draft that you're looking at.
To me, it's sort of a judgment call. It's in the open meeting law, where it's elsewhere stated in the green books. I don't necessarily see a need that it be restated in each policy, but that's a question for discussion. But Eileen's right. Most of what you're looking at is carried forward from the board's existing policy, which was laboriously drafted and with reference to the League of Cities and Towns. Now, the League of Cities and Towns is a great organization and provides a lot of assistance, but they are also not definitive nor authoritative. They just make recommendations. We're free to adopt them or not. So the degree to which we go on that is basically up to us. But because the League of Cities and Towns says to do it, isn't binding on us.
I agree with that. I do understand that, but I think that the rules of your procedure need to be pretty clear so that people can understand them. And and you can say that open meeting law addresses the minutes and the recordings, but that isn't helpful to townspeople who want to know what your rules are and how you proceed. That's my thought.
Mr. Fairman?
Mr. Chairman, first recalling that in the past, Selectperson Proctor has spoken eloquently, and I have spoken in support of his advocacy for being accountable, for our select board being accountable to voters who choose to come here to talk to you. So in that spirit, I, like the previous speaker, have looked through this work and recognize that it is excellent work, and it is also a very difficult task. So I offer my 2 cents worth, which of course may not even be worth that much. I shall simply, it's detailed, and I shall simply summarize, because as this is being, so to speak, postponed to another meeting, it's for your consideration. But just for the public, these proposed Putney Selectboard Rules 2025 include Vermont statutes that have not been quoted and cited as such, and therefore appear to be acts of our town of Putney Select Board that actually are and can only be acts of the Vermont General Assembly in Dillon's Rule of Vermont. In Dillon's Rule of Vermont, when any of these Putney Select Board's Rules 2025 has copied or paraphrased Vermont statutes with or without citations, it cannot be amended by a vote of the board, nor can it be readopted annually, both of which only the Vermont General Assembly can do. That's just a brief summary, but you'll see that I've gone through it and noted where the open meeting law is invoked, but so to speak, implicitly, and I'm offering some suggestions as to how things might be clarified. So that's all I need to say, and thank you.
Thank you. So we're good with that? We're good on the agenda?
Yes.
Okay. All right, moving on. Regulating the disposal of solid waste ordinance. Back to you, Fletcher.
Oh, yeah, so back to where I was with putrescence, which was the only, I guess the only grammatical critique I received, but I guess the purpose tonight is to really decide how we feel about the ordinance at all. You know, we again have received, and to be honest, I tried to keep this as narrow as possible, to accomplish what seemed to me to be a known need to address a problem. So we've got a two-page proposal here. Once again, it's been recommended that we look at the League of Cities and Towns. Theirs is 9 pages. And I think this is, to be honest, it's one of the things that I often feel when looking at a League of Cities and Towns proposal is that they're trying to do a one-size-fits-all, which, because they're a statewide organization, that makes perfect sense. But, we don't necessarily need an ordinance that covers all the things that an ordinance in Rutland or Burlington might. So I did try to keep it more focused and, I pared it down over time to hopefully accomplish what I'm suggesting we want to accomplish. There was also some commentary about enforcement. The ordinance provides for fines. The fact that fines are then enforced through the I don't know what they call it now, the Judicial Bureau. That's, I don't see that as, that's sort of a step beyond the ordinance itself. What I was really hoping the ordinance could do is just tell people what they could and couldn't do and what might place them at risk. And as Karen has rightly pointed out, enforcement is problematic at the local level. How we would ticket somebody, who would hand them the ticket, what would happen if that didn't bring them into compliance. It is all problematic, and I think this is maybe wishful thinking, but I think worth doing to have something on the books that says it's not appropriate to leave junk or solid waste. I'm trying to avoid getting into the junkyard dispute, but solid waste that could be hazardous to the health of the community. That's really all the focus of this was. So, and as I say, if we can change the definition of garbage to
Did you say liable to rot?
Yes.
I like that, that's good.
Yes, liable to rot or become putrid. That's straight out of the OED.
That works.
Yeah, it's,
No, wait a minute. The phrase there would be garbage means waste that is liable to rot.
or become putrid.
Right. Okay. Just wanted it to be in that order, not just, it doesn't mean to become, anyways, yes. And I actually support, I just wanted, while I'm off mute now, I think I've read this over, I have no issue with it, and I'm ready to move it forward when other people are.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that, besides the accessible thing, the only issue, again, I have is enforcement, and I have two minds of it. One is, do we really want to pass ordinances that we can't end up enforcing? And on the other hand, if it's on the books, like you said, at least we're saying this is not okay.
I think it's better to have something than nothing.
I guess, we can always, if it becomes a problem that we're not enforcing it, then I guess we can rescind it, right?
Good.
Well, I think it is enforceable if we choose to do it. It's
Well,
just,
right, it's
there's
just
a lot
like-
of hoops to
And
jump
we're
through.
talking about capacity and,
Yep. Yeah, I mean,
24 hours a
ultimately,
day.
somebody, a town employee most likely would have to go to court.
Right.
That's a huge drain of resources right there. So, I see this as very much a last resort. On the other hand, I see it as a useful tool to be able to say to somebody, listen, if you keep doing this, you could get fined.
Yeah. Yep. I'm in favor of it as well.
Karen?
Did you send it to the lawyer?
No, because it's like, for one, it needs to be formatted properly. And two, if we have ordinances that we're not gonna enforce, people are gonna realize this. It's not a good look.
I didn't say we're not going to enforce it.
You need somebody to be the enforcer then.
Mm-hmm.
That will go
Well,
to
then-
court.
Yeah,
Well, did you ask the sheriff if he was willing to enforce it?
No, I haven't.
Well, that'd be the next question.
Well, the thing, get something in writing, Fletcher, and I can send it to him. That to me, this to me is not a properly formatted ordinance. If we're gonna be consistent,
To me, it's an ordinance, and it says you can have it, you can get fined.
I'm talking about like section 1, authority, section 2,
Yeah.
purpose,
Oh,
section
there you go
3,
again. That's, you know what, you know where that's from?
definitions.
That's how the League of Cities and Towns
But that's
likes to
okay,
write.
because it makes
That's
it
not-
consistent.
I understand that, but it's not binding on us, and as you pointed out, this is sort of a different animal than the rest of the ordinances that we're usually dealing with. But it in no way makes it either unenforceable or illegible because we use the League of Cities and Towns order of putting things in.
But we do it with our other ordinances.
That's true, and that doesn't mean that we have to do it every time.
I think there's,
If you want it, we can throw all that in. My real goal was that we kept it on as direct and brief as possible. I didn't want to load it up with a lot of other stuff, so.
so there is a value to having all of our ordinances and policies be a certain format. Makes it easier to search, makes it cleaner, makes it look better. I don't see that as being an obstacle to this. So, number one. Number two, I think the next step is to, well, we can format it, but then I think the next step is to send it to Larry, just to make sure that there are pieces, not pieces that are missing in this. Because it has force of law, and if there's pieces missing, then when they go to court, they can point to the part that's missing, and we'll have, wasted our time. And I think sending it, to the sheriff for his opinion as well would be a good idea. But in general, I don't think it's ready to adopt tonight, but in general,
It's getting closer.
I support
Yeah.
this. So I still feel like it can move forward there. It does need those things.
I definitely agree that once we get it to a point that we're comfortable with, we ought to run it by legal counsel, whoever that might be. But so the one that was given to us as the League of Cities and Towns model, the 9 pages, it's dealing with salvage yards and
Yeah,
You know,
sure.
it's
But
got a bunch
the
of
general
stuff we
format,
need to
like
do.
we could do section
That's-
1, section 2, we could do that. We don't have to put that section in. Just saying, you could say section 1.
call it
has-
section 1, section,
Yeah,
that's not difficult to do.
Just so that it has the look and feel of all the other ones.
I can do that.
Okay.
One further question. Are you gonna name an enforcer? 'Cause it's like,
Well, that,
Manager force.
yeah. I think it's not in the ordinance, and it shouldn't be, because we don't wanna, as we know, we don't wanna have to change our ordinance.
Yes.
if the sheriff can enforce this ordinance written properly, and we would run it by him as well, their department as well. then fine. I support it. I do. But again, writing an ordinance and saying to somebody, you're gonna get a ticket, you're gonna get a ticket, you know, they're gonna.
Well, it's a civil fine. Anybody, the select board could deputize anybody to go hand it to them. Could deputize you to go hand it to them. But it's probably a lot cleaner and carries a lot more weight of authority if the guy who knocks on the door or woman who knocks on the door has a badge.
Correct.
So I would recommend the sheriff's office do it, but it's a civil fine. If we could deputize anybody, I think. Authorize anybody to just hand out the ticket. But
And I agree with that, and that brings up another question, and we look at it later down the road where you may need a constable if we're gonna start enforcing ordinances by writing tickets.
Well, I think the first step is to format it, send it to our trial attorney, send it to the sheriff, see if he will enforce it,
Yeah.
come back and see if that's feasible.
Okay.
Because we're speculating now.
yeah,
Alright, so we wanna legal counsel and the county sheriff for review. Alright, those are the steps, folks.
Okay, we go to that.
Yeah.
Any public comment? Mr. Fairman?
Mr. Chairman, just two brief points. This is a very interesting discussion. You mentioned the possibility of the Wyndham County Sheriff's Office, but you've also mentioned the Judicial Bureau. And of course, Selectperson Proctor is right that one should avoid going to court because that will be a huge consumption of resources. But I'm wondering, does having the Judicial Bureau enforce it mean that enforcement is something that the Judicial Bureau does because it's their job? I don't know. I'm just asking the question rhetorically.
and somewhat, I don't have the rules in front of me, but yeah, it is their job. And it's really, they're just collecting fines, collecting civil fines. They're not specifically enforcing this statute or this ordinance if it results in a fine. And then, I mean, I
They take a chunk.
believe the town manager already has a ticket book. You just, it's for, because they use the same uniform citation for a huge variety of things. And you could use it for this.
So then I'm going to suggest that as an alternative to the Sheriff's Office, it may be that the Judicial Bureau provides what we call in business a turnkey service. Basically, we hand the fine to them, and that's not so?
No, they're not going to send somebody out to knock on doors.
Okay.
They're not that kind of an agency. They're really just a clerical
They
function.
process all the tickets.
The ticket comes in, they send out notice, if somebody doesn't agree to pay it, I mean,
A
then
traffic ticket.
they set it up for a hearing. And that's when it frankly becomes sticky for us. Because if there's a hearing, we gotta send somebody. And, they gotta say, yes, I went out and talked to them and this is the problem and.
You have to document everything.
Yeah, and that's where it becomes more problematic, but I think the same issues would exist no matter what we try to enforce that way.
Thank you for an excellent clarification. I just thought I'd mention as well, we speak about constables, and Putney does not have a constable at present, but it appears that like other law enforcement officers who have jurisdiction throughout the state, so do constables. So it may be that one could use a constable from another town, just offering as a possibility. I don't know the answer to that, but I do happen to know that they apparently, a constable in Brattleboro, for example, actually has jurisdiction in Putney and so on. So, food for thought.
Hadn't thought of that. I have used constables in Brattleboro. The sheriff's department doesn't like it when I do it, but I have used them.
Mm-hmm. They're cheaper.
Yeah, it's the follow-up where you get in trouble if you gotta do follow-up and you need a sheriff to do it. You find they're kind of unenthusiastic if you didn't use them on the first step.
True.
Okay, I'm going to jump in here. We are going into the third hour of select board meeting, and we are having conversations that we've had before over and over again. So we have a plan here. Let's go for it, and let's get to the next agenda item. I'm limited. I have probably about 20 more minutes here, and then I'm going to have to log off. So
Here.
please, let's keep moving.
All right, traffic ordinance, review and adoption.
Okay, so I make a motion to adopt the traffic ordinance as written.
Second. I think we're just back to
We're back.
25.
Huh?
We're back to 25.
You were back to 25, nothing
Yeah.
has changed. We did this before, and I guess not all the steps were completed, so this is basically just
Karen.
redoing it.
There's no enforcement in this ordinance.
Well, this is the
Would you like it in there?
no, this is an amendment to an existing ordinance. The only reason that we're doing it right now is to change the speed limit so that we can get speed limit signs on Alice
Okay, and
Holiday
then you're
Drive.
gonna go into.
And then we're gonna go back and we're gonna look at it. That was
Okay.
the only reason we did this, was
Yeah.
to quickly get those speed limit signs done. So, and we have to wait for 60 days to have it take effect. So what I'd like to do is just limit the discussion to vote it, like, and Peg needs to go. We've already had the discussion several times. So, and we have a motion on the table. I'd like to get this, I would want to get out of ordinance purgatory.
Any public comment? Mr. Fairman.
Just very briefly, for something for consideration in the future, I was up in Springfield the other day and I noticed that when you cross the town line in Springfield on any town road, they have a sign that says, speed limit 25 miles per hour within Springfield town limits and otherwise, unless otherwise posted. I offer that as food for thought.
Thank you. All right, got a motion, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All right,
Eileen, you moved it and who seconded it?
Peg.
Peg, seconded it.
Thank you.
all right. We're going into executive session, VSA 313A2, after making a specific finding that premature general public knowledge would clearly place the public body or person involved at a substantial disadvantage. The negotiating or securing of real estate purchase or lease options. We're inviting Karen, I think. Yes,
Yes.
okay. And are we making a decision?
Yes, you're invited.
No. Yes.
Okay. So
No decision.
after this, we're done. The next meeting would be September 3rd, 2025. Can I hear a motion
So
to
moved.
go into executive session?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Alright, we're out of executive session. Can I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
Motion to
Second.
adjourn. Next meeting, September 3rd, 2025. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, sorry.
Yeehaw.
Okay.